Alright guys, so while I've got a little lull in the action here, I'm going to talk to you about my 5 favorite lake trout baits. There's so many options out there, and if you're starting up, it's probably a little difficult to decide. Over the years, I've tried a lot of different baits, and I've kind of whittled it down to, maybe 10 or so that I alternate between. I'm always open to new ideas. I'm always trying new things, but in the end, there's the 5 go-tos that I'll always have. So the first one I'm going to talk about is a tube. A tube is a staple bait in any lake trout fisherman's box. This one here is a 3-inch Berkley power bait tube. It's a pearl white, which is probably the most common color. I always recommend that you experiment and try new things, but the pearl white, if you're going to pick one color, is probably the way to go. As far as weight goes, that could be dictated by the depth that you're fishing. In a lot of the Muskoka lakes and stuff, you're only fishing 20-30 feet of water, as opposed to Simcoe, where you could be fishing 80, 90, up to 120 feet of water, where you want to go with a little bit heavier weight. What you do with this bait, if you have the electronics, you can hang it 10-20 feet off bottom and wait for fish to come up. Slowly take it away from them. On the Muskoka lakes, I'll even tip it with a minnow, fish it just a little bit off bottom, jig it, reel it up, drop it down. Just keep it moving, basically, is the most important thing. The next bait is a bad boy, or a Meegz style bait. What this bait is essentially going to do is bounce off bottom. You want to give it just tiny little taps with your rod. You want to feel the slack in your line as it hits bottom, and lift it tight and back down. And what this imitates is a feeding minnow, and it's really excelled since the gobies came into Lake Simcoe. You want to just tap it off bottom. It's more of a whitefish bait in general, but we've caught some really good lakers on it, and when they're not in a super aggressive mood wanting to chase stuff, this can be a really good option. I would avoid it in mud or silty areas. It's going to get buried in the bottom, and you don't want that. You want the fish to have a good shot at it. So I prefer to use it in sandy or rocky areas. In a rocky area, it makes a good ruckus banging on bottom too, which can call fish in from a distance. So that's a good thing to know. Next one is the vibrato. It's really kind of taken over the market in the last couple years. It's a higher price point on a bait, and it took me a while to actually try it based on the price. But I've been very, very happy with it, and I've definitely spent probably a little too much money on them. This is a very versatile bait. You can jig it on bottom, similar to a jig and wrap, and it gets a shimmy on the way up. Puts out a lot of vibration, hence the name vibrato. Calls fish in from a distance. You can also fish it higher up in the water column, jig it. You can make fish chase it. That shimmy is similar to a lipless crankbait. Very versatile bait. I would definitely recommend having one of these in your box as well. Next one is a lipless crankbait, which we kind of touched on there with the vibrato. This one here I like to fish high in the water column when fish are aggressive. If I have 2 lines down, a lot of times I'll have this as a higher line. I'll set it 50-60 feet off bottom. Suspended fish will come for it, and you can hear the rattles in it when you jig it, and it shimmies and rattles. That can call fish in from a distance as well. I like it on sunnier days for the most part, but I've done well on cloudy days too. I'll just experiment. This one here is the live target, which I've done really well on. And the number 1 favorite that I have would be a Swimbait. I've tried a big variety of swim baits. I've done well on a lot of swim baits. This one here is just a 4-inch X-Zone swammer, which is kind of a Lake Simcoe staple. There's not a lot of hardcore lake trout fishermen out here that won't have a handful of these in their box. Again, it's a pearl white color. When the fish are looking up at it, really what they're seeing is the bottom. And the bottom of any bait fish is white, so I like the pearl white color. It does well on cloudy and sunny days. The 4-inch is a good size. I've caught fish on the 5-inch, I've caught fish on the 3-inch. The 4 is just a good general bet. And what I'll do with this is what we call yo-yo it. So I'll drop it all the way down to bottom, bang it on bottom a little bit, bring it up maybe halfway, jig it a little bit, drop it back down, bring it back up. If you have the electronics, you can watch the fish come up and chase it, really dictate your speed and stuff that way. If you don't have the electronics, this would probably be my go-to bait, based on the fact that I can drop it down the bottom, reel it back up, drop it down the bottom, reel it back up. And you can catch fish doing that without the electronics. You know, they'll chase it, they'll hit it. So yeah, without electronics, I'd go with a swim bait, or a vibrato jigging on bottom. And you know, there's all kinds of other baits, jigging wraps, the Williams spoons. There's tons of baits, but those are my top 5. Give them a shot. Hope you catch some fish.